Some reflections don't just mimic, they reveal secrets better left hidden. Room 13 of the old Tolkien had always been avoided by the locals. Rumors whispered of strange occurrences, eerie sounds, and guests who checked in but never out. It was a place where shadows seemed darker, where the air felt heavier, and where a peculiar, antique mirror held more than just reflections. Rachel was a travel blogger who thrived on debunking paranormal myths. Her channel was popular among those who loved a good scare, but who were ultimately skeptical of anything supernatural. When she heard about the haunted Room 13, she couldn't resist booking a night to prove once and for all that it was nothing more than a series of exaggerated tales. The innkeeper, an old woman with a face as wrinkled as the sheets on the bed, warned her with a voice that trembled slightly. "Once you're in there, don't look into the mirror for too long." Rachel dismissed the warning with a polite smile, chalking it up to local superstition. As she entered Room 13, she noted the cold draft that made the small room feel even more confined. The walls were adorned with faded wallpaper, and the furniture was old but sturdy. Her eyes were immediately drawn to the mirror on the wall across from the bed. It was large, with an intricately carved wooden frame that looked out of place in such a modest room. As she set up her camera, Rachel felt a strange sensation, as if the room were watching her. She shrugged it off and began recording her introduction, explaining the history of the inn and the numerous ghost stories attached to it. As night fell, Rachel's initial bravado began to wane. The room seemed to grow colder, and the silence was thick, only interrupted by the occasional creak of the floorboards. Determined to stay focused, she decided to do a live stream, asking her viewers to join her as she explored the room in the dark. "All right, guys," she said, her voice only slightly trembling. "I'm about to do the one thing everyone says not to do. I'm going to stare into the mirror in Room 13. Her viewers flooded the chat with warnings, urging her to stop. But Rachel, ever the skeptic, leaned in closer to the mirror. At first, she saw nothing unusual, just her reflection staring back at her. But as she continued to watch, the reflection began to change. Her face twisted, her eyes darkened, and a sinister smile spread across the reflection's face, though Rachel herself had not moved. A chill ran down her spine as she realized that the reflection was no longer mimicking her movements. It was acting independently, its eyes boring into hers with a malevolent intensity. She tried to pull away, but found herself unable to move, as if something was holding her in place. Her breath hitched when the reflection reached out, its hand pressing against the glass from the inside. The mirror rippled like water, and a cold, clammy hand gripped Rachel's wrist. She screamed, but no sound came out. Her viewers watched in horror as a hand pulled her closer to the mirror, her body disappearing into the glass as if it were a portal. The live stream abruptly cut off, leaving the chat in a frenzy of panic and confusion. The next morning, the innkeeper found Room 13 empty, save for the camera still recording, now facing the mirror. The reflection in the mirror was no longer that of Rachel, but of a woman long dead, her face twisted in eternal torment. Rachel was never found. Her disappearance became another legend added to the history of the old oak inn, a tale that would be whispered among those brave enough or foolish enough to stay in Room 13. If you enjoyed that chilling story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales that will keep you up at night. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And for a real thrill, try watching this at midnight with the lights off. Let me know how it goes in the comments if you dare.